Hello and happy first day of spring. It is the spring equinox. It is the first day of Aries season. We have a Venus retrograde and a Mercury retrograde both going on in the sign of Aries. And if you've been seeing some of these things all over social media and you've been asking yourself, okay, but what does that mean? What do I do? Then stay tuned. I am going to tell you. This is the science of creativity, and this is a space where I will break down all of these woo-woo, mystical, esoteric concepts for you and show you how to apply them in a practical way so that you, as a creative business owner, an entrepreneur, a world builder, a world changer, an innovator, can make the most of it. My name is Kim. I'm a creative consultant and I help creative business owners and entrepreneurs bring ease and efficiency into the administrative and practical side of their businesses so that they can thrive in their creativity. So let's get into it. I'm going to be consulting my notes because it's a lot. We got a lot going on up in these stars right now, okay? So let's get started first with spring equinox. So we're going to be looking at this from the perspective of traditional Chinese medicine. In traditional Chinese medicine, each season can be related to an element as well as an organ network. And so the element that relates to spring is the wood element. And in Chinese medicine, wood is all about expansion. So we're coming out of the winter, which relates to the element of water, and it is time of reflection. It is this time of stillness. It is a very yin dominated season. And now we're moving from yin into yang. We're not all the way in yang yet. That's summer, but we're moving there. And so we are expanding. Think about a tree. If you cut it, it has these rings because it is expanding. It is moving outward. And this time is also relates to our liver and our gallbladder, as well as the emotion of anger. So what do these organ networks have to do with it? Well, let's think of the role that they actually play in the body. The liver is all about collecting and directing the flow of the blood in the body. And so we can align with this in the same way as we have collected all of this data about ourselves, about the world around us, as we have been in this reflective mode in the winter. And now it is time to direct that energy to where we see fit. The liver relates to action, and that is what spring is all about. It's about taking action. The gallbladder comes into play with helping us in our decision making. And so to take action, we have to decide on what the action being taken is. What direction are we going in? And so we can think of spring as a time for goal setting of what to do and strategy, how to do it. The springtime is all about instigating movement by allowing pressure to build, just like the pressure that builds, that sends that first little sprout through the ground, penetrating into the unknown. It is the same for us. But this is not a new unknown. Again, we have spent the winter reflecting. We are making an informed decision here. Yes, there is uncertainty, and yes, there is unknown, but we can draw on the lessons of the past to help propel us forward as we take action. Also, now let's talk a little bit about anger. A lot of times we demonize our anger. We try to suppress it. It seems like a trait that we're not supposed to have. We're supposed to be zen and calm all the time. But no, every emotion has a lesson for us. It is just data. Emotions. Our emotions are meant to move us, but we have to sit with them. We have to process them. We have to allow them. We have to learn healthy ways of processing our anger, because I almost would say that out of all the emotions, our anger holds the most wisdom, because it is telling us that thing right there is absolutely not for me. I need to change course now. And so during this spring, I really, really encourage you to sit with your anger and allow it to teach you and allow it to guide you. So during the spring, another thing we are not doing, we are not suppressing our anger. So far, we are setting goals, we are strategizing, we are feeling the feels and letting them inform our decision making. Okay, so now let's get into these retrogrades. So first of all, we are in the season of Aries. Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. And so we can think of Aries as a spark. Just the spark. It's not the full-blown bonfire. That comes later as we progress through the signs. It's like, we have a spark. It is our responsibility to either fuel that spark or let it die out. And so Aries season is really giving us the energy of that initial spark. And so now let's think about these retrogrades that we have going on in it. A lot of people think retrogrades, like they just assume like, oh, people are going to come from my past, because essentially what a retrograde is, it means from our perspective on Earth, it looks like that planet is moving backwards for a time through the sign that it just came out of. So say, Mercury just went through the sign of Aries. In the retrograde, it now looks like Mercury is moving backwards through Aries and then forward again. And so that's why people think a lot of times with retrogrades, like, oh, people from the past will come back up, because a retrograde is a time of reflecting on the past. It's basically giving us a second chance to learn a lesson. But I think what a lot of people are misunderstanding right now about this Mercury and this Venus retrograde, because Venus is typically seen as the sign of love, people are thinking that it's all about, oh, my past relationships. But it is in the sign of Aries, and Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, it is all about the self. It is that energy of I am. And so I would really encourage us to maybe shift our perspective on these retrogrades and not focus so much about, okay, let me reflect on my past relationships, but let's reflect on our relationship with ourselves, our love for ourselves, and then maybe how that shows up in our outward relationships. But it's really right now about the way that we are loving and the way that we are showing up for ourselves, and the opportunity to learn a new lesson there. And also, don't do my girl Venus like that, because Venus is not just the sign of love. She's the sign of beauty, of music, of art. She thinks about our pleasure and the things that we value. And so these things are all being highlighted right now in the sign of Aries. And it is a time to bring a new spark into that area of our life. So we talk about, in a romantic relationship, losing the spark. But so many of us have lost the spark with ourselves. And this is a time to reflect on that and figure out how we can reignite that flame of our own self-love. And so Mercury is also in the mix. So Mercury is a sign of communication. It's our thought processes, the way that we think about things. And so this is, again, another opportunity to shift our perspective when it comes to the things that we love and the things that we value. Okay, so to sum it all up, this is my take on it. Take what resonates and leave the rest. I believe that this spring we are really being called to refocus and recenter within ourselves, and to set some new goals for ourselves that are rooted in self-love. I think so many of us have built up this vision for ourselves and these goals for ourselves based on what society has told us to want, based on seeking validation from others or family members, friends, community members, and not what our heart and our spirit truly values. And so I feel like this spring in particular, now more than ever, with everything going on in the world, we are really being called to come back into our heart space and reconnect with the things that we value from a heart-centered perspective, not the things that, we're told to value, like the cars and the houses and the money. And, maybe that's what's in your heart, and that's okay too. We listen and we don't judge. However, if you are now in this moment reflecting and being like, yeah, I think that the idea of success that I've been sold isn't what actually feels successful in my heart. And successful in my heart is what brings my heart peace, what nourishes and feeds my spirit. And so I think this spring we are being called to take action, to set goals, and to strategize in the direction of things that actually align with our heart and our spirit. And these are the things that are going to nurture our self-love. Okay? That is all I have for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And until next time, peace.